Hello guys, welcome back. So we have reached the final step of this like these points. So in the past couple of videos we have seen like how to understand a problem and then how to relate it with some concrete examples and then how to break it down into sub problems and then how to solve or simplify them, right? So it's not a mandatory step to like refactor a code, but it is worth knowing about this step, right? So once you are done with your solution, it's like sometimes it's tempting to see your solution working, right? And then you feel like you should shut down your laptop and then you go and enjoy your day, right? But it's super important to like look back your code and refactor in case if it is super scrappy. Okay, so in case if you are one of those like who are building their own startup and who have to manage everything by your own, you are the only person or you guys are just couple of people who are writing some code for your own project, then like writing the scrappy code is totally fine, right? Because who is going to look at it, right? Because it's just you couple of guys who is going to look at it. Okay, but in case if you are working in the large organization, right? So in that case, like refactoring your code is way more important. Otherwise, the other developers, let's say a new developer came into your like project, he literally won't understand like what the hell is written there, right? So that's why you should refactor it. Okay, like it should look understandable, right? How like you should think like if I write some code, then is the other guy able to understand the code but just by seeing that code? Okay, so that thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, and one more point I have to consider, like when you are refactoring a code, you should keep in mind like how performant it should be. I know it should not be the like fastest code on the earth, but it should be somewhere performant, right? So this is what we are going to look at, okay, in this lecture. So let me quickly go there, right? So these are some sort of questions you can ask when you are refactoring your code which is already working. Okay, so you can ask something like can you check the result? Obviously if you have wrote a solution then it should work, right? It should at least return some result. Okay, so that is the first thing. And then can you derive the result differently? Okay, so right now you just wrote a solution which is deriving your result, right? But you can you just gave one solution, right? So can you write a different approach to return the same result? So right now for one problem you have given one solution, so can you derive another solution which will give the same result? Okay, which is a little bit more efficient than the one which you are writing right now. Okay, so that thing you should ask yourself, and keep in mind you have to ask yourself, not the interviewer, right? Because it's not right to ask the interviewer these questions. Okay, it can be quite dangerous, sorry. Yeah, so the third point you should consider, like can you understand it at a glance? Like if you look back at your code after some time, because the moment when you're writing you will totally understand each and every line, right? But you should keep in mind, you should ask yourself like if I look back at my code after like 1 month 2 month, then will I be able to understand my own written code? Because most of the time what happens, like you wrote some crazy algorithm and then you left it for like let's say a month or two, and then you came back to the same algorithm, you have to fix something or you have to enhance something, then you are just seeing that problem and you are asking yourself, am I the one who have wrote this complex thing? Okay, so those things you have to keep in mind. Okay, so can you understand it at a glance? Okay, so can you use the method or result for some other problem? Okay, so see, we are the developers, so we have to keep in mind while implementing some solution that we reuse the same solution for the other problems as well. Okay, we if you have heard about the term reusability, so can we reuse our solution for some other problems? Okay, so that thing you have to keep in mind. We have to write it like a spider web, right? So that we just have to write it once and then we can use it in multiple scenarios, multiple use cases. Okay, so that thing you have to ask yourself. So can you improve the performance of the solution? So let's say you have wrote a solution, right? So which is not that much up to the mark in performance wise. So can you write a better solution which is a little bit, at least a little bit better than the current solution performance wise or not? Okay. And then can you think of other ways to refactor? Let's say you have refactored it, but in some parts of the solution you don't feel confident, like you don't like that particular part, like it is not looking good. So can you refactor it on the other ways? Okay. And then the last point, like how have other people solved this problem? Okay, so this is one of the steps where you will learn a lot of things. Okay, and let me tell you how. So let's say you got a problem. Okay, so what happens is, like, there are multiple people, there are tons of people who are in the same industry, right, who might have encountered the same problem. Okay, so if you do a little bit of research about that problem, you will get millions of different solutions for the same problem. Okay, some might have wrote like highest efficient code, some might have wrote crazy solution for the same problem. So that way you will get the idea to approach the problem in different ways, right? You will get multiple solutions for the same problem, and it will help you identify like which one is performant, which one is less performant, which one looks good, which one does not looks good. Okay, so these are the few points which you can ask yourself while you are refactoring your code. Okay, so now I have actually formatted my code a little bit and I have changed it a little bit. I have not changed much, I have just added this if condition. Okay, so what we are doing now, we so you have to consider, like, I have done all these steps, like creating sub problems and then concrete examples and then solving them, all those stuff. Okay, now I am at the step of refactoring it. Okay, so here is the code where we are lowercasing it and then we are running a for loop, and then here in this if condition we are checking like if the character is alphanumeric or not. Okay, if the current character in the iteration in this for loop is the alphanumeric or not, and if it is alphanumeric, then if it exists in the object, then well and good, I have to just increment its value. Otherwise I have to store it as a key, and then I have to set its value as one. Okay, and then I have to finally return the result. So let's quickly check whether it is working, because I haven't tested it yet. Okay, let me quickly zoom it. Okay, so now, okay, so here we can pass some text, hi there, 1211, and then some dollar, and then space we already have, and forward backslash. Okay, forward slash. So if I run it, then I'm getting 1 3 times, which is correct, 2 once, e twice, and then h twice. And as you can see, it is considering both the h as the same character. Okay, I once, R once, so that means it is working fine. It is ignoring the spaces and these special characters. Okay, it is just focusing on the alphanumeric characters. Okay, so now let's try to refactor it step by step. Okay, so what I can do, I'll just look at this part first, because I'm not feeling a little bit good about this for loop, right? As I've shown you another example of writing this for loop. Because see, if you think, like, end of the day we are just going to work with the character, right? We don't have to work with the position of that character, we have to work with the character itself, right? So instead of writing this for loop where we are accessing the index and then we are accessing the character at that index, instead of doing this hard stuff, what we can do, let me quickly write a formatted version of it. Okay, I'll keep it here as a reference for you guys. Let me quickly comment it out. Okay, so now let's refactor it. So for let character of, and then we can use this text. Okay, because this is the simplest way. Like, why we bother ourselves writing all those index and all those stuff, right? When we can simplify it down to just few words. Okay, and it will do the same thing only, guys. Okay, so yeah, now we have the character. Let's log it quickly, or let's replace everywhere. Okay, so instead of this lower text at position I, we can replace it everywhere with the character. Okay, so here I think I've wrote this final text at position I. So instead of this, I have to write this. Okay, yeah, so I have replaced it everywhere, final text at position I. Okay, so let's quickly see whether it works or not. Lower text. Okay, so lower text I have to use, right, instead of using this text. Okay, so now let's quickly see whether it is working or not. Okay, because I've changed it a little bit, and then same thing I'll use, and then okay, so it looks fine, it is working fine only, right, because it is ignoring the spaces and then the special characters, everything. It is just focusing on the alphanumeric words. Okay, so yeah, this looks a little bit better than this one, right? This for loop looks crazy, and this is the simplest for loop, right? Now I'm not feeling a little bit good about like this if else condition, right, because it's just a small solution, and for that small solution we are writing like at least 3 4 lines of code. It's 1 2 3 4 5, it's 5 lines of code, right? So what we can do, we can simplify it down. Okay, so let's just simplify it quickly. So what we can do, we can simply write it something like this. Okay, final result at character plus plus, or what we can do, we can simply set it to 1. Okay, and now where we have to set it to 1, we simply have to check this one, right? We have to store here only, right? So what I am doing right now, instead of this if else condition, what I am doing, I am checking if the character exists, then increment its value by 1, else set its value to 1. Okay, so now I will comment this code and I will run it quickly to see whether it is working or not. Okay, so yeah, I've commented it out, and now let's quickly see whether it is, or actually we have it, right? Okay, so now again it is working fine only. Yeah, it's working fine only, right? So we can make use of this one. Okay, h we are getting twice and h we have twice only. Yeah, and I we have one, rt we have one, two we have two we have once, and one we have thrice, right? Okay, so this code is working, right? So we can remove this 4 line of painful code. Okay, now let me quickly format it a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, our code got a little bit shorter. Okay, so now what about this lower casing? So if you feel like you should lowercase the string at the beginning of the for loop itself, then you can lowercase it here. Or in case if you feel like it's up to your personal preference, right? In case if you feel like if the character is only number or alphabet, then only you want to lowercase, then also you can lowercase that character like this. Okay, so character dot lowercase and lower text we have to pass like this one. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so what will happen now, if you have a crazy string with the like lots of special characters and alphabets and numbers, then in that case you just want to like lowercase it whenever you are getting some character. Okay, so in that case this can be like quite optimal code. Okay, so let's just remove this from here, and then let's just name it back to text. Okay, so now we have lower text here, and then let's quickly format it a little bit, and then let's see whether this code is working or not. Okay, so again and again it is working only, and I think it is not working, guys, because lower text I'm passing here, character dot to lowercase I'm storing here, and then final result, right? So h is coming once only. If you see, it's just lowercasing this h, and what about this h? This h I'm not getting here. So let's quickly figure out like what's going on wrong. So let me quickly log it, the char. Okay, so l twice I'm getting here, and then b h I'm getting just once, and then this h I'm getting here. So okay, so what I will do, like I'll roll it back to the previous chain. Okay, because if you find like it is going to take a little bit of time, so better like change it back to this one. Okay, because these are going to work almost same, right? So if you want, you can explore it and you can write it like this. Okay, you can lowercase it only if the word is like alphanumeric, and then you can store it like this. Okay, or let me just quickly try to use that character. Let's see. Okay, otherwise I will revert it back. Okay, so lower text, instead of this I have to use text string, and then yeah, character I'm getting in every iteration, and then I'm lower casing it. Okay, and then yeah, so let's see how it goes. Okay, again it is not working, so you guys, I'm leaving it to you guys, so you guys can test it, you guys can experiment on it. Okay, so I'm reverting it back to this previous one. Okay, so this is what actually I also like. And yeah, now uh, let me quickly format it. Yeah, okay, so now we have a little bit shorter solution, right? If you see this one looks a little bit complex, and this one looks a little bit nicer. Now the next thing I wanted to talk about is this regular expression. Okay, so now what this regular expression is doing, it's basically checking whether the text uh, have the alphanumeric numbers or not. Okay, so with the help of this test, we are passing the string in it, and then we are passing the character in it. Okay, and then we are basically checking if it is alphanumeric or not. Okay, so what happens sometimes, like sometimes in like some specific browsers, it does not perform well. Okay, this alphanumeric thing. Okay, this regular expressions. So in our case, this is just the simplest regular expression which we can use. But in like complex problems, you have to use some complex regular expressions, right? And if you are in the interview and then you got some problems to solve, then obviously regular expressions are not the one which are going to strike in your mind right away. Okay, in case if it's a small regular expression, then you obviously you will remember it and you will use that right away. Otherwise you will just try to ignore this and you will try to solve it with in some other way. Okay, so yeah, I did a little bit of research, like to see the performance of this one, and then I found this article. Okay, in Stack Overflow. I hope you guys might know already about Stack Overflow. So what this answer says about that problem is like string dot character code add appears to be faster than the regular expression alternative. Okay, so it can be this regular expressions alternative, and it is like a little bit faster than the regular expression. Okay, so in my test.js some website I have mentioned, if you want you guys can check it out. And then like regular expression option performs 66% slower in Chrome 36 and slightly slower in the Firefox. So he's trying to say like the code which he have written, the regular expression which we have is 66% slower than the code which he have written here. Okay, so that means this code is a little bit optimal. So we can make use of this code, right? Instead of writing the regular expression. So let's quickly write it down here. I've just copied it. Obviously, you can also copy if you want, because no one will remember the character code, right? So let me show you. Like let's just first test what are these character codes. Okay. So let's say I have this string. Okay. Let's just take hi. Okay. So let's take hi, and then let's character code add. Okay, and then I am getting 72. Okay, so let's use h only, then let's see, still I'm getting 72. That means it is giving me the first character's character code. Okay, so now let's use I. Okay, so small I, it is giving me let me quickly expand it a little bit. Yeah, so small I, it is giving me like 105. Let's check the uppercase I, it is giving me 73. Okay, now if you analyze like what he have written, Like if the code is greater than 47 but smaller than 58, okay, then it is 0 to 9. Okay, 0 to 9. Let's see what is the character code of 0 or 9. Okay, so it is 57. Okay, but he have written, yeah, he have written if the code is smaller than 58. So this one is 57, right? So which is obviously smaller than 58. So if the code is greater than 47, within the range between 47 to 58, then it is 0 to 9. Otherwise, if it is within the range of 64 to 91, it is uppercase A to Z. Okay, and we have already seen it, like this number was in between 64 to 91, right? So we'll get uppercase characters within this range, okay, and the lowercase characters within this range. Okay, so now what it will do, this function is doing, like it is checking if the character is alphanumeric, then it is returning true, otherwise it is returning false. Okay, so we can make use of this function here instead of using this regular expression where we are passing the character, and then since it is returning true or false directly, right, so we can use it inside of the if condition directly. And in if condition, if you have basic understanding of the conditions and statements, like how they work, you basically have to pass something which returns true or false, right, or you directly have to pass true or false. Okay, so this function is returning true or false right now, so we can make use of this function, right? So let's pass our text here, and then character we can pass, right? Yeah, so now let's see whether it is working or not, and I hope it will work. Okay, so it is working. Yeah, it is working fine, right? So now, even though this code looks a little bit larger, a little bit bigger than this one, this code which I have implemented, but this one is a little bit efficient than this one. Okay, so regular expressions might not perform well in some specific browsers, and it can perform well in some browsers, but this code will for sure perform well only, right? Okay, so yeah, this is how we can do the refactoring. And if you see, like this alphanumeric, this is a separate function, right? We can use it for different use cases as well. Okay, so it's not just like counting string characters is the one who can use it, who is the owner of this function. This function can be plugged in some other problems as well. So it's a reusable function which we have created just now. I mean, we have copied, but we can think like we have created, right? So this way we can make it reusable as well. Okay, so yeah, these are the couple of steps like which you should consider in mind, which you should keep in mind, right? So that is why I was saying like refactoring is one of the most important factor. Okay, especially when you are in the coding interview. If you practice it whenever you are solving problem at home, or you are just practicing it, you can practice this step as well, this refactoring step as well, because this is also one of the most worthy step, you can say, because most of the time, 80% of the time, interviewers see after solving the problem, are you able to write the same problems, same solution in a better way or not? Okay, because sometimes they try to give you a hint, is there any better solution, or like this is the only one. Okay, some interviewers say like if it is working, then that's fine, leave it, you got selected, you got hired, congratulations. Or sometimes interviewers try to expect a little bit more than you, right? So in that case, this refactoring comes into picture. Okay, so this is also one of the most important step, not necessary, but it should be considered as the important step, right? Refactoring. So yeah, this is it for this lecture, and now from the from the next video onwards, we'll start looking at the programming patterns, right? So in this couple of videos, we have seen like how we can approach a problem and how we can solve it. It was specifically for the interviews, right? Because I have while starting the series, I have mentioned like I'll cover almost everything whichever is required, okay, to understand data structures and algorithms. I know we haven't reached the data structures and algorithms part yet, but these are also one of the most important things which not most of, at least not most of the guys teach, right? not most of the guys tell you. Okay, so you should like understand the starting of the journey, right? If you want to become a better coder, you should understand like how to approach a problem, how to solve it, and then you should dive into data structures and algorithms, right? Because otherwise, diving into data structures and algorithms directly without knowing, without having any idea how you will solve that in an interview, then is that worth it? I want to ask you guys. So the answer is no, right? If you know, like you can solve that question, that's fine. But can you solve it in a better way? Okay, that's what matters a lot, right? So that is why I considered explaining you these things in the beginning itself, so that whenever we are solving any problem, you can follow these approaches to solve your problems alongside. Okay, along with me. Okay, so yeah, this is it for this lecture. See you in the next one.